It's Monday. Let me check the audio. Ok, you are in live. Vamos lá. Hoje eu vou iniciar esse path aqui, esse caminho, né? I will start this path, JavaScript, Web UI. I will try using English to training, but I'm not. Uh, eu não garanto, né, que vá usar bastante. Então, beleza. A ideia hoje é fazer esses cursinhos aqui para revisar alguns conceitos de JavaScript e com foco ali em UI, tá? Vamos lá, e o primeiro, setting a foundation for successful test automation. Então, vamos lá, né? Então, a ideia é 45 minutos. Então, vou pegar aqui um Pomodoro, depois 5 minutos de relax. Né? Então, como é que eu edito isso aqui? Vou ter aqui, ó, 45, 45, 5 e 15. 5 and 15. 5 to short break and 15 to long break. Let's get started. I'm only check the sound about the video one more.
Hi, and welcome to Setting a Foundation for Success.
About the video one more. Okay, it's working. And I will start with this course now. Start with the time here. Theme here, and we will start. Okay, it's working. And I will start.
Successful Test Automation. I'm Angie Jones. In this course, we will explore the initial considerations for starting a new test automation initiative. Many companies begin their test automation journey with proof of concepts as opposed to with strategy. This often leads to failed test automation initiatives that do not meet expectations. To set a foundation for automation success, we will explore how to develop a test automation strategy that meets your business needs, how to cultivate a culture within your organization that is conducive to the success of your test automation initiative, techniques that application developers can employ to support test automation, how to choose the right tools for your test automation initiative, early considerations that should be made to better prepare you for the future of your test automation project, how to optimize and scale your automation project for your business needs, and finally, how to quantify and share the value of your test automation with your organization. Let's begin.
I will read here summary. Many companies begin their test automation journey with proof of concepts as opposite to with strategy. Strategy. This often leads to failed test automation initiatives that do not meet expectations. In this course, we will explore the initial consideration for starting a new test automation initiative, including how to develop a how to develop a test automation strategy that meets your business need, how to include a culture within your organization that is conducive to the success of your test automation initiative, techniques that the, that application developers can employ to support test automation, how to choose the right tools for your test automation initiative, early consideration that should be made to better prepare you for the future of your test automation project, how to optimize it and scale your automation project for your business needs, how to qualify the return on your investment and quantify the return on your investment and share the value of your test automation with your organization. Let's begin. It's because when the companies start uh, automation of the software, maybe the software not prepared to automation, and when these uh, when these do, I don't know, quando they translate when, okay, when this work, worked, I don't know, when is isto, when this happens, um, the automation it's expensive because the testers will automate using the locators, um, flaky locators or flaky functions need to create a path, a way to escape of the problems, and but the system not prepared to automation. I see one video about it recently. Okay, next step.
In this chapter, we'll take a moment to consider what is your goal for starting a test automation initiative? And what is it that you want to accomplish? Who do you envision participating in your test automation initiative? And in what capacity? And how do you plan for the execution of this strategy? So, what is your goal? Is it to reduce the time that it takes to execute regression testing? Perhaps your team needs to release features faster. So you want to reduce the manual effort it takes to run the regression test and allow your testers to focus on testing the new features. Or perhaps your goal is to reduce technical debt by closing your sprints with test automation in place for the new features. As your developers are creating new features and your testers are verifying them, there's not much time for full-on manual regression testing. And closing the sprint without automating the newly identified tests only adds to that problem. So maybe you want to take care of this early on. Or perhaps your goal is to enable continuous testing as part of your build process. After checking in new features, your developers may want the confidence that what they've added isn't compromising the overall quality of the application. Adding automated tests to your continuous integration pipeline can certainly help with this. The key here is to understand what it is you're trying to accomplish. Before you begin any planning, take a moment to decide why it is that you need test automation. Make sure this goal is at the forefront of all of your decisions because your subsequent actions in regards to test automation should be aimed toward this goal. Who you involve, the tools you use, which tests you automate, the execution strategy, all of this should be aligned with your goal. Communicate the goal to the entire team. Make sure everyone is aware of why the team is doing test automation and what it is you all wish to accomplish by it. I stress this because many teams jump into the implementation of test automation without taking a moment to consider why they are doing it. This leads to failed automation projects where teams are unprepared for the issues that present themselves and are unsatisfied with the return on their investment. Let's have a look at considerations that should be made when defining your strategy. Who do you envision participating in your test automation initiative, and in what capacity? Before answering this, let's talk about the implications of automating your regression tests. You'll need someone to write the test automation scripts. You'll need someone to monitor the results every time the tests are run. You'll need someone to update the test when the behavior of the application changes. These tasks can all be done by the same person or shared amongst the team, but let's explore this a bit. Okay, so who's going to write your test? Let's say you choose the developers because, hey, they already know how to code. Well, your developers are working on new features. Will they realistically have the time to work on scripting regression tests? Okay, so let's say you choose the manual testers as the ones to write the test scripts. Because, hey, they're better at testing anyway. Let's remember the problem we're solving. You're investing in test automation as a way to reduce the time and effort required for regression testing. Can you now spare the testers to not only test new features, but also to spend time automating old tests? Here's the hard truth. Unless you're able to pull your developers or testers off of their current task of working on new features, or you're able to provide them with the time and resources needed to do these tasks, these may not be your best options. Make no mistake, test automation is a software development project in and of itself. It takes a considerable amount of time and skill to do it. If you treat it as a side task that people only contribute to whenever they have time, it will fail. Even if you're able to find the time to allow your developer or tester to write the automated scripts, there's still the task of monitoring them and updating them as needed. So what do? Well, you have a couple of options here. Some companies assign someone to temporarily work on automating their regression backlog. However, this only works if you have another plan and strategy for future tests. Otherwise, the regression backlog will continuously grow as new features are developed, and you'll find yourself back at square one. Another option is to assign someone to permanently work on your test automation. This becomes their full-time job. And yes, in most cases, it is indeed a full-time job. You can assign a developer or a tester to this role or have them work together as a pair, but be sure to account for the fact that either of these would have to invest in learning test automation. Yes, your developer knows how to code, but how familiar is she with testing and test automation? Your tester understands testing, but how familiar is he with development and test automation? Don't get me wrong, this strategy can certainly work, but you must be realistic about the learning curve and time it also really helps if the person actually wants to do this work. Another great alternative is to employ a test automation engineer. This person is ideally skilled in testing as well as automation development. They can lead your test automation efforts and include the developers and the testers in a more reasonable capacity. If you go this route, it's critical that you make this person a standard part of your team. Having them interact and collaborate with the rest of the team members will strengthen your test automation initiative. Now, if none of these options seem possible, ask yourself if you're viewing this as a side project. Are you willing and capable of investing what is required for this to succeed? Let's say you've defined your strategy and you have an idea of who will lead the effort as well as how others will contribute. The final thing we'll consider in this chapter is how do you plan for the execution of your defined strategy? Let me offer a question to ponder. When your team was executing these regression tests manually, did they run all of them every time? Or did they make a strategic decision based on other factors such as risk and value? You may think that since you're automating these tests, you might as well automate all of them. But there is a cost that comes with automation. The time and the maintenance required is not something to be taken lightly. To automate tests, you need a clear understanding of the scenarios. Are the actions and expected results clearly defined? This may be covered via acceptance tests, Gherkin scenarios, or test cases. And while verbal communication is wonderful, a written summary of expectations, even if light, is extremely helpful when writing test automation. The test script author's mind is swapping from creation mode to verification mode as they're writing this test code. So having a guide to consult with to ensure nothing is missed is key. You'll need to choose tooling for your automation project, such as a programming language or a codeless offering. Just as with your development projects, you'll also want to develop standards and conventions, especially if you envision multiple people contributing to the automation project. We'll explore considerations around these in Chapter 4 on tooling. Explore your thoughts on when and how these tests will be executed. Is it okay to have someone kick them off when needed and report back with the results? Or do you want them executed multiple times a day within their own CI job where everyone has visibility into the results? Or do you want them integrated into your development CI job where they are executed anytime someone checks in new code? Each one of these requires a certain level of trust and focused attention. Let's look at each one. Running the automated test locally and reporting the results to the team requires manual intervention and therefore will indeed be slower. But the result reported to the team has already been triaged and can be trusted to be accurate. Running the test multiple times a day in a CI job separate from development gives faster feedback, but the reported results have not yet been triaged. So the tests themselves have to be written with a greater level of proficiency and care to ensure that they're not flaky and that they can be trusted. And running the test as part of development CI process requires fast and reliable tests that only fail when the application under test has provoked it to. I recommend gradually moving to these phases, starting out with running locally or as part of a private CI build that is not exposed to others. This will allow you to learn more about what causes your test to be flaky, including quirks about your application. Once you find that you can trust your test yourself, move to a separate CI job that is visible to everyone but doesn't affect developer check-ins. This strengthens your trust in what you've written and also allows others to begin to trust it as well. Once you are very confident in your tests, only then should you gate your check-ins with them by adding them to the development CI process. It's best to realize early on that your test failures will need to be triaged and maintained, and plan for this in your strategy. Again, an automation project is a software development project, and as the development of your product changes, so must your automation code. I cannot stress this enough. It's not an optional task. Your automated tests will need to be triaged and maintained, so plan accordingly. The good news is that this is a great opportunity for others on the team to assist. As your developers run tests to verify that their new features didn't break any of the existing ones, they can be responsible for triaging any failures. Ideally, any tests that fail will be due to their changes, and therefore they can fix their code or update the test to reflect the new expectations of the application. However, also be prepared for unrelated tests to fail as well. This will give developers insights into things that cause flaky tests and ways that they can improve the test automatability of the application. Manual testers are also a valuable option for triaging automation failures, especially ones who have an interest in contributing to the automation code base. Reviewing test failures, debugging the automation code, and updating the code when needed are great introductory opportunities into test automation. While all developers and testers can certainly assist in the triaging and updating of test automation scripts, because it is not their primary responsibility, there's still a need for someone to monitor this consistently. Unmonitored tests are untrustworthy tests. As your team continues to lose trust in the automated tests, they tend to rely less on them, and the automation project eventually dies.
Okay, read. Um, transcript. In this chapter, we will take a moment to consider what is the goal for starting a test automation initiative and what is that it is that you want to accomplishment or accomplish. Who do you envision participating in your test automation initiative and in what capacity? Who, what, who, how. And how do you plan for execute tests of this strategy? What is goal for test automation? Is it reduce the time that it takes to execute regression testing? Perhaps your team needs to release features faster. So you want to reduce the manual effort it makes to run the regression tests and allow the testers to focus on testing the new features. In my experience, this is the most one of the most important thing to reduce the time it takes to execute regression tests, and with this guarantee the essential flow, essential critical user journey um, work. It work. Or perhaps your goal is to reduce technical debt by closing your sprint with test automation in place for the new features in place. Or perhaps your goal is to reduce technical debt by closing your sprint with test automation in place for new features. As your developer are creating new features and you and your testers are verifying them, there is not much time for full-on regression testing, and closing the sprint without automation the newly identified test only adds to that problem. So maybe you want to take care of this early on. Or perhaps your goal is to enable continuous tests of part of your business process. After checking new features, your developers may want the confidence that one they've added isn't compromising the overall quality of the application. Adding automation tests to your continuous integration pipeline can certainly help it with us. The key here is to understand what is you're trying to accomplish. Before you begin and plan, take a moment to decide why is that you need test automation. Why is it why is why it is that your test automation. Make sure this goal, what is for effort for all your decision, because your subsequent actions in regard to test automation should be aimed toward this goal. Who your who you involve to tools you use, which test you automate. The execution strategy, all of it should be aligned with your goal. Communication, communicate the goal to the entire team. Make sure everyone is aware of why the team is doing test automation and what is you all wish to accomplish by it. I stress I stress this because many teams jump the implementation test automation without taking a moment to consider why they are doing. This leads to failed automation tests where teams are unprepared for the issues that present themselves and are unsatisfied with the return on your investment. Yeah. Who who your who do you envision participate in your test automation initiative, and in what capacity? Before answering this, let's talk about the implications of automate, automating the regression tests. You will need someone to write the test automation scripts, monitor the results every time the tests are run, update the tasks when the behavior of the application changes. These tasks can all be done by the same person or shared amongst the team, but let's explore this. Okay, so who is doing to write the test scripts? Who is going? Who is going to write the test scripts? Who is going? Is going. Who is going right to test script? Let's say you choose the developers because hey, they already know how to code. Well, your developers are working on new features. Will they realistic have the time to work or scripting regression tests? Okay, let's set your choice the manual testers as ones to write the test scripts because hey, they are better at testing anyway. Because they are better at testing anyway. Let's remember the problem are solved. Problem were solved. You're investing test automation as a way to reduce a time and effort requirement for regression testing. Can you now spare can you now spare the tester to not only test new features but also to spend time automating old tests? Can you now spare the tests to not only test new features but also to spend time automation old tests? Mm. You have these resource use the to use the this resource to the use the manual test to do the both things. Here's the hard truth. Unless you're able to pull your developers or test off their current tasks of work on new features, or you're able to provide them with the time and resources needed to do these tasks, these may not be your best options. Make no mistakes, that mistake. Test automation is a software development project in and of itself. It takes a considerable amount of time and skill to do it. If you treat it as a side task, that problem won't contribute to whenever they have time. It will fail. Even if you're able to find the time to allow your developer or test to write automation scripts, there is still the tasks of monitoring them and updating them as needed. So, what do you do? Well, you have a couple of options. Some companies assign someone temporary work and automating their regression backlog. Wherever this only works if you have another plan and strategy for the future tests. Otherwise, the regression backlog will continuously grow as new features are developed, and you find yourself back at the square. Another option is assign someone permanently work on your test automation. This becomes their full-time job. And yes, in most cases, it is indeed a full-time jobs. Indeed, indeed, you can assign a developer or a tester to this role or have them work together as a pair. But be sure to be sure to account for the fact that either of these would have to invest in learning test automation. Yes, your developers know how to code, but how familiar is she with test and automation? Your tester understands test, but how familiar is he with development and test automation? Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. This strategy can certainly work, but you must be realistic about the learning curve and time investment. And also really helps if the person actually and it also really helps if the person actually wants to do this work. Uh, so yes. Another great alternative is to employ a test automation engineer. This person is ideally skilled in test as well as automation development. They can lead your test automation effort and include the developer and testers in more feasibly, feasibly, feas, feasibly. Uh, I don't know. Linge, linge. How to pronounce feasible? Huh?
Feasible.
Feasible, feasible. Okay, feasible. capacity. If you go this route, it's critical that you make this person a standard part of your team. Having them interact and collaborate with the rest of the team members will strengthen your test automation initiative. It's like strong, I think. Um, because I'm see this strength, strengthen, because strengthen, I think it's like force. It's workout, or it's to gym. I think that uh, strength, strength, strength,
String.
strength, strength, strengthen your test automation initiative. If none of these options seem possible, ask yourself, you're viewing this as a side project. Are you willing and capable of investment? What are your requirements for this to succeed? How? Let's say you've defined your strategy and have an idea of who will lead to effort, as well as how other will contribute. It's time. I will. It's long text. Uh, maybe I can use the cider to, or not. Resume the text using dots. Okay. Defining key points on test automation strategy. Defining automation strategy. Identify who will lead and contribute to automation effort. It's like uh, this. Choosing plan execution based on the defined strategy. It's how. It's how. Choose test to automate. Evaluate which tests are crucial based on past manual execution. Consider risk and value. Choose test to automation. Evaluate which tests are crucial based on past manual execution. Recognize the cost and maintenance associated with automation. Clear scenarios. Ensure scenarios are well defined through acceptance tests or writing summaries. Use documentation to guide the test script writers between creation and verification phases. Implement considerations. Select appropriate tools, programming languages, establish standards for collaboration among contributors, execution of tests, decide on execution frequency and reporting methods, manual execution with a triage results, slower but reliable. CI jobs for frequent execution, necessary while writing tests. Integration into development CI for intermediate feedback requiring high test reliability. Gradual transition from local testing to development CI. Integration to build trust in tests. Automate triage and maintenance. Automated tests require ongoing triage and maintenance as the application evolves. Encourage team involved in test maintenance with developers, fixing failures tied to their chains. Manual testers interested in contribute can assist in debugging and updating tests. So we need know about what what is the goal of the test automation, if the goal is to reduce technical debits, or is to reduce the time it takes to execute regression testing, or is to enable continuous testing as a part of the build process. It's all the other things, but we need know about the what is the object, what is the goal, um, who uh, who its work we focus on the automation test, automation scripts, because we need to write the test automation, then monitor the results and updates when the behavior of the application changes, or it's a problem with automation. We need monitoring this, and how it's how we automation, how strategy, how what's the scenario, um, how we monitoring the tests, the results, um, how extract metrics um, to evolution of the tests. Uh, Now, trying and maintenance, and read this, monitoring the tests, test health, considering monitoring is essential. Unmonitored tests become untrustworthy. Loss of trust in automation tests leads to reduced resilience and potential projected failures. Good. The question, what is not reasonable goal for test automation? Release fast, feature faster, enable continuous tests, reduce regression, solve all quality issues. So it's not a reasonable goal for test automation, because of test automation will solve all quality issues. What is the first thing that should be decided before starting a new automation initiative? What is the goal of automation? Which of these tasks are associated with a test automation project? Automation, authoring automation tests, test automation project, monitoring results, manu maintaining, oh my gosh, maintaining. I don't know how spoke, how pronounce.
Maintaining.
Maintaining,
Maintaining.
maintaining,
Maintaining.
maintaining, maintaining, maintaining. Okay. Uh, maintaining automated tests. Authoring, authoring. What is authoring? Authoring, authoring, authoring,
Authoring.
authoring, authoring. Okay, authoring automated tests. It's, yeah, all the above. Above, it's above, right? It's a sigma, I think. Yeah. Which is not a consideration when determining who will write the automation tests. Desire, I don't know. Desire,
Desire.
desire, uh, person desire. Yeah, person desire. It's recommended that your very first automated test should be immediately added to continuous integration to begin getting developer check-ins? No, no. It's recommended that your very first automated tests, it's the first tests include to integration. No, I think no. Why? It's which not not a consideration when determining who will write. O que não é levado em consideração ao determinar quem escreverá os testes automatizados. Oh, maybe desire of the person is if I want seniority, I think seniority. Seniority. Because if I junior and want want work with automation, no problem, I think. Okay, okay. Why this not work?
Let's begin.
Let's begin.
Hi, and with let's begin.
I don't know.
In this chapter, we'll
Okay.
defining a strategy is an essential first step
Creating a culture for test automation success. Oh my
to a
gosh.
successful test automation initiative.
I
But
have
all of your hard work can still come unraveled if your organization does not possess a culture that supports your goals. Test automation is most successful when there is collaboration amongst different team members. The product owners, business analysts, developers, testers, and of course, automation engineers. Let's discuss how to get people on board, how to help them understand their place in the automation strategy, and how to enable them to do what's needed. As I mentioned in the previous chapter, it's very important to communicate the goal of your test automation and make sure everyone understands what's needed to accomplish that goal.
Oh, I'm tired. Okay. 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 Um, that's it. I will start my pause and return in 5 minutes, I think. And let's start. I'm back. I'm not see. I'm not see. I don't see. Here. Green. I didn't see. I didn't see. But let me check the time to do this path. The time of this
Hi.
doesn't have, I don't know what time, but no problem. I will do. Okay, about the creating a culture, how to creating a culture for test automation success. Let's get started.
Defining a strategy is an essential first step to a successful test automation initiative. But all of your hard work can still come unraveled if your organization does not possess a culture that supports your goals. Test automation is most successful when there is collaboration amongst different team members. The product owners, business analysts, developers, testers, and of course, automation engineers. Let's discuss how to get people on board, how to help them understand their place in the automation strategy, and how to enable them to do what's needed. As I mentioned in the previous chapter, it's very important to communicate the goal of your test automation and make sure everyone understands what's needed to accomplish that goal. And more importantly, the role that they play in realizing the success of this goal. If the goal is to receive fast and pertinent feedback, then automating any and every test is not in line with this goal. Your business analysts and product owners can assist here. They help provide the business context to the features that are developed and can also do the same for related tests. Their insight on which tests provide the most value and therefore should be automated and run at every check-in is most helpful. Be sure to help them understand this role that they can play in making test automation more efficient and enabling the entire team to move faster. When the product owner understands the goal and purpose of test automation, they will also be a key advocate in pushing for the health of the automated test. If there are tests that are failing and your team finds itself in a position where no one has the time to update the test, your product owner should realize that without this safety blanket, the developers are not able to move as fast as they could if the automated tests were trustworthy. I've seen product owners who were so invested that they included these test automation maintenance tasks in the product backlog and prioritized them with feature work. This is the level of involvement that keeps automation goals and impact at the front of everyone's minds. Developers, too, have an important role in test automation, and arguably they receive the most benefits. If test automation is done right, developers are able to move a lot faster with their feature development. This is because they don't need to be as fearful about the impact that their code may cause to the existing code base, because they can quickly run the automated tests against their new changes and fix anything that may have broken before actually integrating the code. But it's important to help your developers understand that in order to reach this point, they have to contribute to the initiative. Developers should contribute unit tests to the overall test automation project. These are small tests that verify the logic of individual functions without the need for integration of other functionality, databases, or user interfaces. Another critical area of focus for developers is to ensure that the areas that they are delivering can be easily automated against, which we'll talk more about in the next chapter on test automatability. Developers can also assist in updating tests that fail due to new changes that they have made. This is an activity best done by them because it forces them to answer the question of, is the change in expected behavior valid? If the answer is no, They can adjust their code before any damage is done. This fast feedback is extremely valuable. So even without leading the test automation project, developers can contribute a lot to its success. However, these opportunities for collaboration are not always apparent to them. Be sure to spell it out and educate them on how their efforts help the overall goal. Let me take this opportunity to inform you that yes, even with a successful test automation project, you will still need your manual testers. Many have made the mistake of believing that test automation is a replacement for testing. It is not. Testers are still needed to explore and thoroughly interrogate your applications. They will be the ones who discover your most costly bugs. In addition to their testing, they can also be a great help to the test automation initiative by providing insights on the tests that are best to automate and areas of the application that may need the most coverage by test automation. For those interested in test automation, they can also contribute to the triaging and maintenance of test scripts. It's really important that your organization understands that test automation does not replace testing, nor should it be treated as more valuable. Truly believing this and making sure your testers also understand this will foster a culture where testers embrace test automation and view it as an assistant to them versus a potential threat to their jobs. Even with a rock-solid automation code base, it can still prove defining a strategy. Hi, and welcome to Setting. Define.
Talk about the mentality to the culture to support the quality to culture for testing automation success. Good. And the contribution of each uh, each um, each field, um, each I don't know, each field, cada each role in the team. The product owner, if the product owner understand the improvements of the automation, um, he is he will advocate to to use the automation to improve the automation. Developer helps to construct the automation um, and build unit automation. And the testers um, help each others with the initiative. How I see this summarize. Okay, successful automation initiative release on supportive organizational culture and collaboration among teams members, including product owners, business analysts, developers, and testers. Clear communication of the automation goals and the specific rules each member is crucial. Product owners and the business analysis help prioritize which tests to automate it for optional feedback. While developers benefits most from automation by enabling quicker feature development and requiring them contribute unit tests. It's essential to highlight that manual tests remain vital to discovering complex bugs and providing insight into effective automation. The integration of automation should be enhanced rather than replace traditional tests, fostering in a collaborative environment that values all roles in the testing process. The manual test not kill it. Manual tests every time it's work, it exists, but the but when we automation, we create time, we build, you optimize it with time to do other scenarios and test better. uh, what's the best approach for getting team buy on the test automation? Communicate the goal, strategy, and opportunity for collaboration. Assign task individual, force team members to contribute. Force is not, not, not. Given the traditional rule of a product owner, what's the most probable way they can assist with the test automation? Provide business insight on which scenarios should be automated. And the product owner provide these scenarios because he is near to client, he is near to features, to concept of the features. He knows better about this. What's a benefit of good test automation to product developers? What's the benefits of good test automation? It's able to develop features with more confidence. How should test automation affect manual testers? Assist them. Replace, not slow them down, not and devalue. I don't know the value, but it's like unvalue. This no. Which of these team members can play a part in the success of automation? Business tester and developer. Oh my gosh, 100 credits. Okay, Let's go for three
Even with a
chapter.
rock-solid automation,
Developing for test ability.
even with a rock-solid automation code base, it can still prove quite challenging to develop reliable scripts if the application lacks test automatability. In this chapter, we'll talk about techniques to improve the robustness of your test automation framework by developing with test automatability in mind. We'll discuss the test automation pyramid, code scenes, and UI element selectors. In his book, Succeeding with Agile Software Development Using Scrum,
I don't know. I have one book here, but I don't know. A bug. It's like this, but it's talk about agile.
Mike Cohn introduced the test automation pyramid, which is a model that describes three levels in which tests can be automated against: unit, services, and UI. If a part of the reason you're automating tests is to have fast feedback, you'll want to design your automated tests to run as quickly as possible. One way to accomplish this is to automate the test as close to the production code as you can get away with. The unit level is closest to the production code. Tests that are automated at this level are called unit tests, and they're quick to write and also quick to execute. As a refresher, unit tests are small, modular tests that verify the logic of individual functions without the need for integration of other functionality, databases, or user interfaces. In addition to being fast, unit tests are also able to pinpoint the exact function in which a bug exists. Therefore, the bulk of the tests that are automated should be written at this level. This aligns with the goal of fast feedback. These are the tests that are best written by your product developers as part of their feature development work. However, if tests are later identified as good candidates for automation, but were not included by the developers themselves for whatever reasons, those tests can still be added at this level by anyone with the know-how. Just because the developer didn't add it to the unit level doesn't mean it has to be automated at a higher level. The services level is a bit further from the code itself and focuses on the functionality that the code provides, but without a user interface. Tests automated at this level can make calls to the product's APIs or web services and/or the business logic to verify the integration of various individual functions. This level should contain the second largest number of automated tests after the unit level. The furthest level from the production code is the UI level. Tests written at this level face unique challenges in that they take longer to write, they take longer to execute, and are dependent upon the consistency of the UI. Because of this expense, this level should contain the least number of automated tests. When considering a test for automation, determine what information the test needs to verify and choose the lowest level of the pyramid possible to write the test against. The lower the level, the faster the test, thus upholding the goal of fast feedback. Now, this seems practical in theory, but when the team is building UI level features, it's tempting to believe everything must be automated at the UI level. I get it. You want to verify that the application looks the way it's supposed to and that the controls work. You should certainly verify your UI, but all of the steps required for the test case do not have to be executed at that level. Let's take a look at an example. Let's say that your team just created a new search feature. Naturally, you want to verify that when searching for products, that the correct results are returned, that the results appear as they should, and that any other filtering, sorting, column selection, or pagination is working. If you are automating one search test, then I agree. Automate it at the UI level and perform all of those UI level checks. However, if you need to automate multiple search tests, ask yourself, Do they all need to be performed at this costly level? Or can you automate one at the UI level and automate the rest of them at a lower level? At this point, you've already verified the UI components, and now what you're really exercising is the functionality of the search algorithm. This can be verified at the service or even the unit level. Let's take another example where you want to add a product to the shopping cart. The scenario steps include searching for the product, looking through the search results to find the product you want, clicking on the product, clicking the Add to Cart button, clicking the cart icon to get to the cart, and finally verifying that the item is actually in the cart. Automating all of these steps at the UI level is risky. If any of those steps fail due to the brittleness of navigating the UI, your test won't get to the step that you actually care about. You've already added a UI level search test to your suite, so you can bypass that in this new scenario. Instead, look for seams or shortcuts in your application, which make automating easier. In this example, instead of searching for the product, you can instead go straight to the product's URL within your automated test. That's the seam, and this will save a lot of time and mitigate some of the risk of using the UI by eliminating the steps that you can. Not only that, but you're eliminating the dependency of the search feature working for this test. The test of adding something to the cart has nothing to do with search. However, if you automated search as part of this scenario, this test would fail and you'd be blocked from verifying what it is this test was aimed to do. One more example. Let's say you have a test that verifies you can increase the quantity of a product within the shopping cart. Thinking of this scenario, the steps might include searching for the product, looking through the search results to find the product you want, clicking on the product, clicking the Add to Cart button, clicking the cart icon to get to the cart, increasing the quantity of the product, and finally verifying the cart. Again, the process of searching and even adding the product to the cart do not necessarily need to be done at the UI level. By doing them there, you're adding time, dependency, redundancy, because you already have a UI level test for this, and exposure to brittleness to your test. You can utilize a seam, such as a web service call, that adds the product to the cart. Then go straight to the cart URL and begin your test. This is much faster and less prone to failing for an unrelated cause. We've talked about seams a bit. These are shortcuts within the application that make automating tests much easier. Some seams are provided within the application by default, such as unique URLs for various pages. Utilize these when possible within your automated test, as opposed to trying to navigate the UI via menu items and various click streams. Additional seams can be provided by developers, such as web services, which allow your test code to bypass the UI and send quick HTTP requests to the application. These are great for prerequisite setup, verification of data, and cleaning up after test completion. This is a prime example of how your developers can contribute to improving the test automatability of the application and therefore allow for faster, more reliable tests. Exposure to business functions can also prove useful. For example, instead of going through the UI and navigating to a page in order to click a button, the test code can call directly into the function that executes that action. This type of automation would be considered service level automation. To automate in this fashion, your test code would need to be able to access the application's logic without a user interface. For the tests that need to execute at the UI level, the test will need to interact with the application by accessing its HTML elements. A leading cause of flaky tests reliability of identifiers for these HTML elements. When developers create new web elements, it's extremely important that they add identifiers to these elements. This can be in the form of an ID attribute, name attribute, or a custom attribute that is solely for test automation purposes. This is not something that is typically taught to front-end developers while they're learning to code, so it's necessary to make this a part of your team's culture. While informing the developers that this is needed, it's still relatively easy to forget to do. So put other processes in place to enforce this behavior. Options include adding a rule to the team's code linter that flags any elements which do not contain an ID attribute, or better yet, the custom test attribute, or actively looking for these omissions during code review, or meeting with developers in advance and labeling a mock-up of the elements with the attributes that are needed for test automation. You defined your strategy. Even
It's a class chapter good. Talk about the strategy to automation, um, developing for test automatability. Talk about the parameter. The most of tests it's in unit because it's more fast. Test to fast feedback and quickly as possible. The second is service and UI. For example, in this scenario, using the UI test, I need to put the click on the add to cart, click in the cart link, check the product in the cart. This is example. Search for the product, look for the search results, clicking the product, clicking add to button, click add to icon to get to the cart. You verify the item that the item is actually in the cart. But we can put the change strategy to use the service to test some things or put the object in the car and before this check the cart. And she talked about the themes, these shortcuts within the application to make automation tests much easier. Some themes are provided with the application by default, so it's a unique URL and various pages. Utilize these when possible within your automated tests as opposed to trying to navigate the UI using via menus, items, and various clicks and themes. If you need uh, to go to the cart, you can use the the URL to go to the cart directly. Additional themes can be provided by the developers, such as web servers, which allow your test code to bypass the UI and send quick HTTP requests to the application. These are great for pre-requisite setup, verifying data, and cleaning after the test completion. UI locators. To automate the task, you need the system prepared to automation. If the locators is unstable, we cannot automate it. It's more we need we have uh we haven't having more effort, but and maybe we produce the flaky tests. About the hybrid tests, um, which the following does not improve test automatability? Which the following does not improve test automatability? By elements, code schemes, shopping carts, application shortcuts. We talk about shortcuts or not. These are shortcuts within application. Shopping carts, I think. Which they follow is not a level of test automation pyramid. JavaScript. Which level should you automate your test at to have it execute as quick as possible? Which level should you automate your test at to have it execute as possible? Sorry, I need to translate this. Unit. Unit. The easiest level to get to, as far away from the production code as possible. She talked about the uh, code to as close to the production code as possible, I think. We talk on this. The unit level is closest to the production code. And then I think that's it. The absence of reliable element identifier effect with type of tests. The absence, the absence. UI. Identifiers related, I think, the UI locators, which is not an example for utilizing a code stem. Navigate the UI just as a user would. Oh my, more send credits. I will save it at events courses. Very good. I will save this course in my study. Next.
You defined your strategy for test automation. You've put practices in place to build a culture that supports your strategy. You've reviewed key concepts on building reliable tests as well as making sure your application can be automated against. Now is a good time to consider the tooling for your test automation project. In this chapter, we'll discuss how to choose the right tools for your initiative. Before choosing your tools, it's important to consider who will be using them. If you don't have programmers who will actively contribute to the test automation, then building your own test automation framework may not be a viable option. Remember, test automation is software development. If your idea is that you'll have your testers learn how to code and then create this brand new software development project, please realize that this takes quite a bit of investment in education for them. Your organization should provide a massive amount of support for this. If that seems unrealistic, there are codeless tools on the market which allow your testers to record their scenarios and then execute them as part of regression testing. While programming knowledge is not required, note that you'll still need to plan for triaging and maintenance. If you'll have your developers or your automation engineers do the automating, then a coded solution is by far a better option. It allows for more control and flexibility. The bare minimum you need for your test automation project is an interaction tool and a validation tool. Remember, we have 3 levels: unit test, service test, and UI test. Let's talk about the interaction for each of these levels. For unit tests and service tests that call into production functions, they should be written in the same programming language and reside in the same project as the production code. The execution is simply the call to these functions. For other tests, you have more options. Service level tests that call into APIs will need to be able to execute the HTTP calls and read through the responses. So you'll want to look for a programming language that makes this easy, or libraries that take care of the boilerplate work for you. For UI tests, you'll need a navigation library, which provides the ability to interact with the HTML elements of your library. Libraries will need to be one of the four. Execution is simply the call to these functions. For service tests, each of these levels. For unit tests and service tests that call into production functions, they should be written in the same programming language and reside in the same project as the production code. The execution is simply the call to these functions. For other tests, you have more options. Service level tests that call into APIs will need to be able to execute the HTTP calls and read through the responses. So you'll want to look for a programming language that makes this easy, or libraries that take care of the boilerplate work for you. For UI tests, you'll need a navigation library, which provides the ability to interact with the HTML elements of your application. Using a tool that supports the programming language that your application is written in is a reasonable idea. However, you should also consider how easy it is to hire for that programming language, should you want to expand and hire more additional automation engineers. And also consider how widely supported that programming language is by test automation tools. It's really beneficial to use tools that have an abundance of support and educational resources. So if your team is using an obscure programming language for its product development, which has limited support and resources, this might not be the best choice for your automation project. Another factor to consider is the browsers and devices you need to run your test automation against, and ensure that the tools you choose are supported for these options. Speaking of additional automation tools, let's move on to what is needed beyond just the interaction tool. You'll also need to include validation libraries. These are tools which will allow you to turn your code into a test, which can pass or fail. There are various options of these validation libraries for the array of things that you need to verify, including functional, visual, accessibility, security, and so on. This is the bare minimum that you'll need for your automation project: a way to execute the tests and a way to verify them. However, you can certainly make your project more sophisticated by adding a reporting library which shows screenshots and possibly even video of test failures, or the integration of Gherkin scenario files if your team is already practicing behavior-driven development. And if your ultimate goal is to run the test as part of CI, you'll want to choose tools that allow for this integration.
Okay. I'm stay here. When considering a program language for test automation, which factor may be deterrent? It's like determinante, dissuadir. Uh, Developer use the same language, I think. Same language. Same. They should be writing the same language and reside the same project as production code. The interaction simple. I don't know, but I think that's it. Which the following is not an example of automation test interact with the application. Calling product level functions. Make HTTP requests to product servers for of automation tests interact with the application. Report test result is not an example of automation test interacting with the application. The purpose of the validation library is to interact and enable a test to pass or fail. Oh, mm, unsupported. Uh, makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. So that's it. I complete 4 chapters, and I will try complete the other chapters. Maybe let me see, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, and 4 minutes. I can do this. It's easy.
Without a clear strategy in mind, many teams make the mistake of automating their tests for their current situation. Perhaps you're just starting out and you have a dozen or so tests that run locally. You don't see the issues that your poorly written test code can surface. However, once you're up to, let's say, 100 tests, all of a sudden it's very clear how faulty your design decisions were. Now you have to find time to refactor your test automation project. In this chapter, I'll share with you some design considerations that you can keep in mind early in your automation journey. Knowing these things up front will help you future-proof your test automation project and save you lots of time and headache. When you only have a handful of automated tests, running them sequentially doesn't seem like a big deal. However, as the number of automated tests grows, the longer it will take for your entire test suite to complete. A solution to this is to run the tests in parallel. However, this is not as simple as flipping a switch. Your tests have to be designed to run this way. For starters, you should not have any of your tests dependent on one another. If you rely on test 1 to execute before test 2, then these two tests cannot be run in parallel. So be sure to design all of your tests to be independent. Any setup or cleanup should be isolated within the test itself. You'll also want to avoid modifying test data that other tests may rely on. If test 1 changes the value of a record and changes it back to its original value once completed, then there's still a risk of test 2 executing at the moment where the value has been changed. Therefore, test 2 fails. To mitigate this, any test that needs to change test data should be the only test using that data. And then finally, objects and variables that are used by multiple tests should be declared in a thread safe meaning they should not be global or static as their values could change. While your automation project consists of test code, that doesn't mean that you can throw caution to the wind and ignore clean coding practices. Remember, test automation is software development. It has to be extended and maintained, so it's best to develop it in a manner that will support both. Avoid excessive code duplication, long classes and methods, inefficient waiting within tests, and other bad practices known as code smells. Instead, embrace approaches that enable code reusability and maintainability. Become familiar with design patterns that are especially beneficial for test automation projects. Design patterns such as the page object model, screenplay, fluent, builder, singleton, factory, facade. You don't have to use all of these. In fact, some are alternatives to each other. But being knowledgeable about them helps you know which ones are best for your test automation project. Without a clear
I studied about these patterns,
Patterns.
patterns. I studied these patterns. Um, I studied page object model, screenplay, but maybe Flint, Singleton, but the others, I don't know, but I will study again. About the parallel execution, running parallel, we won't have one handful, I know, and click coding, um, I agree, completely agree. Which the following is not consideration need for future proofing automation tests. Keep the source code on your machine. To run tests in parallel, your test should really on other, I don't know, really
Rely on other tests.
rely on other tests, not really rely on other tests. Rely. No. To run tests in parallel, your test should uh, modify shared test data when needed, define shared objects variable as static, be treated safe, I think. I don't know. Its thread is like parallel, I think. Modify shared test data when needed. Not make sense. Because if the the test data is shared, when modify for one test, the other test may broke. Define shared objects variable as static. Not make sense. Static. I don't know. I will quick. I don't know. Shoot. I will kick quick. Right?
I will kick.
I will kick. I will kick. Quick. It's like fast, I think. Quick. Kick. I will kick. Kick. I will kick. The B thread safe because it's in parallel. Which the following is a validation of clean code practice. practices, practices, practice, practices. I select the option excessive code duplication. It's to future-proof your texts. Which design pattern should you use? The one that makes sense for your project. Oh, 100 credits. Scale or
Writing automated
test?
tests that run perfectly against one environment is challenging in and of itself. But what about when you're ready to scale your one suite of tests to run in multiple environments, browsers, and devices? In this chapter, we'll discuss the considerations for scaling your test automation projects. At some point in your automation journey, you may find the need to run your automated scripts on different environments. However, you may find that different environments have different information, such as the IP address or URL, the login credentials, the database information. For this reason, it's best to extract out these sort of details within your automation project and make use of artifacts like properties files, even during your early phases of automating for a single environment. Making these considerations early will prevent you from needing to refactor later. With the use of properties files, you can focus on the content of the test versus coding multiple conditional paths. Managing test data and all other artifacts needed for test automation also becomes more challenging when running across multiple environments. Fortunately, solutions such as containerization help mitigate some of this burden. Even if executing on the same environment, there may be a need to execute your UI tests across multiple browsers. This is one of the benefits of automating tests, so that your testers do not have to repeat the same tests over and over on various browsers and their versions. However, managing these browsers becomes a new task for your team. Give this serious consideration and determine if testing on a select few browsers is sufficient. If the risk is too great, consider using cloud solutions that have an array of browsers of all different versions readily available to run against at any given time. In today's world, users tend to access applications from all types of devices. This is another factor to consider when developing your test. Similar considerations to the cross-browser testing need to be made for device testing. Will you create and maintain your own device farm, or is it more feasible to use a cloud-based service for this? You'll also need to consider your test code as well. Do your UI level tests work when your application is in responsive layout? Some of the elements are replaced with mobile-friendly ones. Your test code should be able to handle this. How about for your native mobile applications? Can your automation suite run for both iOS and Android? Do you need to write two different automation projects to support each of these? This poses an interesting problem. There are libraries such as Appium that support writing the test automation once and having it run against different mobile operating systems. However, if you anticipate your developers helping with test automation, which language should this be written in? If you have two unique native apps where your iOS developers are writing in one language and your Android developers are writing in another language, there is no common denominator here. Also, if your native mobile applications are distinctly different, meaning different features and different navigational paths, how will you conquer this within your test code? These are critical decisions that need to be made early on so that you don't go down the path of automating for one of these devices and then being unable to later scale it to run against others.
Here I talk about the scaling using multiple browsers or multiple devices. And cross-browse, and multiple environments. In my experience, it's most common use the multiple environments. It's like staging, pre-production, and production. Cross-browser, it's less common, I think, because because Chrome it's a browser most used, and we will test using cross-browser using Chrome, but we can test with other tools and multiple devices is two mobiles. It's a very complicated this because have much types, much versions in types of the device. What are some ways in which your automated tests may need to scale beyond your local machine? What are some ways which your automated tests may need to scale beyond your local machine? I might not work more. I don't know, maybe that's it, different environments, devices, and browsers. When you scale for different environments, the management of environment specific data should be considering what the best approach when choosing which browsers to execute on. The tests are automated, run on every browser. Who only run on the browser which is easier to automation for. Consider your business need and choose your browsers accordingly. Run in all browsers because you don't, we will don't, você não vai. You want, you want, you want automate for all browsers, every browser, if you don't need. One need, don't need, you don't need. Two, what consideration should be made for mobile test automation? The line with responsible layouts, mobile apps developed by organization, appropriate automation too. Oh my gosh. And the last, measure the value of your test automation.
Many automation projects fail due to unrealistic expectations. To avoid this, it's best to identify expectations early and communicate these expectations to the entire team. Reaping the benefits of test automation does not happen overnight, and it really helps if everyone understands the end goal and how to measure the progress towards it. In this Many chapter, automation projects fail due to unrealistic of test automation and how to measure for them. One key benefit to test automation is the reduced time it takes to execute regression testing. Before starting your test automation initiative, make a note of how long it takes to execute regression manually. As your test automation matures, you should see that regression testing takes a lot less time to run. However, when you first begin automating tests, you won't have much covered, and there will be quite a bit of time spent learning the hard lessons of automating tests properly to be more robust. Know that this will eventually pay off as you see hundreds of regression tests run in minutes as opposed to weeks. To ensure that the addition of tests does not necessarily add to the overall execution time, you can even set an SLA for the max amount of time the entire suite of automated tests can take to execute. This will force your engineers to explore smarter options to make tests faster and give you a measurement that you can track. Another return on your investment is fast and frequent feedback. By automating your regression tests, the team is able to receive feedback as often as needed. The improvement of this is something you can track as part of the progress of your initiative. Perhaps you're only able to run the test and gather results once every few days initially because of the manual intervention required. Eventually, however, you should be able to run the test automatically anytime a developer checks in code. The faster the feedback, the less expensive it is to resolve any issues found. This is indeed a great return on investment. Monitor your team's level of trust in the automated test. Do they believe that a failed test actually means that there is a problem? This is a question that you can survey your team on during regular retrospectives. This is an important return on investment because it allows your developers to move a lot faster, knowing that they have the test to keep them from messing up too badly. This improved health of the test also means you should see a reduction in the time spent triaging brittle tests. The ability to scale automated tests to run across different environments, browsers, and devices is certainly a valuable return on investment. If this is something that is important to your business strategy, track the ability of your test to do this. This may be painful at first, and you may only be able to tackle one of these at a time, but it's certainly something you can measure the progress toward. As you can see, test automation is not something to be taken lightly. It is not a side project, but rather a software development project that must be treated as such. There's a lot to consider before beginning a test automation initiative, such as defining a goal and strategy, ensuring that your organization's culture supports this strategy, developing your applications in a manner that makes test automation easier, choosing the proper tooling based on your team and business goals, looking ahead to where you want to eventually be and developing your test automation to support that vision, scaling your test automation beyond just running locally, and setting realistic expectations on the return on investment that you'll receive. Hopefully, this course has helped bring many of these considerations to light and will set you up for test automation success.
Okay. Okay. I forgot to mute the mic, but no problem. The transcript. Okay. When discuss a few common benefits of automation and how to measure for the return of investment. Return of investment. Right. Shorten the regression testing time. One key benefit to automation is the reduced time it takes to execute regression tests. Good. It's the one of the most important one of the most important. Yeah, one of the most important thing of the automation, fast, frequent feedback, faster development team, scalability, and you can see test automation is not something to be taken lightly. To be taken lightly. Lightly. It's not a side project, but whether a software project. That must be treated as such. Makes sense. What's the best way to avoid unrealistic expectation from your test automation initiative? What's the best way to avoid unrealistic? Qual o melhor caminho para to avoid? Don't set an expectation. Which the following is not reasonable return on your investment in test automation? 100% test coverage. It's not real. Most benefits. We don't have 100% test coverage, but we can cover the critical user journey 100%. But other scenarios, all scenarios not possible, I think. Most benefits of the automation are seen after the first test is automated. I don't understood. Um, False. I think it's the first test automated, not, but the the group of automated tests, yes, we can see the benefits. The benefits of test automation cannot be measured. False. We can measure with the metrics of the after and before. The automation is a software development project. Uh, what the best way translate? Identify. I understood. It's wrong. Identifying communication expectation early. 50 credits. I lost my credits. Oh, good, 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 good. And finish high 47 minutes, but I need to 1 hour, 2 hours to completely 47 minutes, but I need to review this again. I use the strategy for do this to review this information maybe in the weekend. I know. I don't know. That's it. For else, yeah, tomorrow I see the introduction to JavaScript. I review this in my life. I use JavaScript every day, but some concepts I don't remember, and I will review tomorrow. Thanks for watching and see you next. Bye.